Well, good evening. I want to welcome everyone to our first business meeting. This is our end of the year business meeting, which has a lot of stuff that is very important, especially as we go into 2022. So, just real quick, we're going to go over our quick agenda for tonight. We have a few things to talk about, as you can see on the screen. We're going to start off with prayer. We're going to go into some statistics about this past year since our launch, talk about our membership, our outreach. We're going to talk about finance stuff, vote on our budget, as well as come up with any miscellaneous business. This part of the meeting, miscellaneous business, is for anyone who has something to bring up. So if you are on Facebook and you have something you want to see in 2022, you want to make a comment on something that we're doing, either correct or not, you can go ahead and do that at that point in the meeting. So feel free, and again, during every report that is giving, you can go ahead and give those suggestions as well throughout the meeting. But this is for anything new, miscellaneous that we need to talk about as a church. And if you are on Facebook, you can type that in the chat, or you can send us a message if you want to remain anonymous. Totally fine. And then we are going to look at what is in store for 2022. It's a brand new year coming up in a few weeks, and we have a lot in store, new things that are coming down the pipe. And then at the end, we will have a time for a Q&A. And that's so you can just ask questions. You can ask questions from me. You can ask questions from our secretary, our worship leader, whoever. Just go ahead and ask those questions at that point in time. So let's start off with prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for being our guiding light, Lord. Lord, as we meet tonight, we ask that you keep our minds opened, our hearts opened as we hear from you, Father, because we know you are leading this church ultimately, Lord, and we want to make sure what we are doing lines up with your word, Lord. Lord, we just thank you and we praise you in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, so let's talk about some statistics. I know that's probably everybody's favorite thing to talk about, but here are our worship service statistics. On average, from our launch back on June 6th to November 28th, in person, we actually average 8 people per Sunday. That is so awesome to have 8 people, throughout the year. This is not just every Sunday. This is an average. So we took the number of in-person attendees and then the total number, and then we divided it by the number of weeks. And that gave us about 8 people per Sunday. And then we have Facebook. We did the same thing with Facebook with all of our worship videos, and that gave us about 44 views per Sunday. And some Sundays were higher, some Sundays were lower, but on average, we average about 44 viewers every Sunday. That's for the entire week, from Sunday to Saturday. That is our viewer count. And then TikTok. TikTok is a strange beast. I will be honest. And TikTok, I'm just gonna say this, and you can use this information as you wish. We run anywhere from 6,000 to 12,000 people every Sunday on TikTok. And that averages out to a little under 8,000 views every Sunday morning. That means that 8,000 people heard the gospel. And the majority of those 8,000 people do not have Jesus in their life. We are reaching so many people. And God is being honored. God is just being praised all over the internet. So one thing I just want to point out, even though it may seem like we have nobody down here on a Sunday morning, we only have a few people, we're reaching a lot of people. And that is so awesome. I am just so ecstatic that we have this kind of reach with only being in existence for 6 months. That is amazing, and I'm so excited to see what 2022 has in store because every Sunday we're just growing and growing and growing. Does anyone have questions about our worship service averages? Any comments? You can type them in the chat. If you're here in person, you can ask it here, and I'll repeat you or you can talk into the mic if you're in person. But does anybody have any questions, comments on our worship service averages? And I'll give it a few moments as Facebook loads up with the chat. Okie doke. That moment has passed. Let's move on. Let's talk about our membership report. So when we started this church, and we launched on June 6th, we started off with 3 members on the books. As of this past Sunday, actually 2 Sundays ago, we have a total of 6 adult members. So since our launch, we have doubled our membership. And that is awesome, and we are so thankful for the Lord adding to our numbers. So we now have 6 official adult members on our membership roll. And again, this is not including children. Children cannot be members until they're 13 according to our bylaws. So this is exciting. The Lord has doubled our memberships. Yes, wahoo, Emma. Even though you're also in person. But that's the membership report. I'm going to make a motion that we accept the membership report. Do we have a second for that motion of accepting the membership report as presented? Second? Okay, it's been second. So all in favor, actually, I got to put it in the chat. Motion report presented. Okay, the motion is in the chat. You can go ahead and vote now by replying yes or no, A or nay from that comment. Please take a moment to vote to accept the motion as presented, or the report as presented. So the ayes have it. Unanimous. We accepted it as presented. Great. Let's keep on going. Let's talk about our outreach project. Oh, my mic was off for a few moments there. Let's talk about our outreach project. These are kind of what we did this past year, and it's going to be on your screen. And I want to speak specifically about a few of them. So we're going to start with our back to school bash. During this event, we were able to have 169 backpacks donated to us. And that included all of the school supplies necessary to fill those backpacks. And then 129 of those backpacks went to students at our event, which was awesome. And then all of the remaining backpacks were donated to Butterfly Haven to help other families as well this fall. So we were able to touch the lives of about 130, 170 students this past fall, and that is awesome. The Lord has really done a great work in that. We had tons of volunteers at the event. We had games. We had food, prizes. Our community really stepped up and helped us with it, so that was a huge blessing there. And then we adopted a family this past fall as well. We were able to provide 4 children in the family with 4 sets of uniforms, which included the tops, the bottoms, the shoes, backpacks, and school supplies. We were able to provide them with those to help them get ready for school. And then we also provided the adult family members with non-perishable foods and cleaning supplies. So again, we were able to be the hands and feet of Jesus and help this family this past fall. Again, thank you all so much for everyone who donated towards that. It was a huge endeavor, and it was a huge success. The next event or outreach project we did a diaper drive in order to celebrate Frida's adoption. And that diaper drive yielded 292 diapers and 432 wipes. And all of those were donated to Butterfly Haven. Butterfly Haven is near and dear to my heart. They are a great organization, and we are so happy to have them as a partner in ministry. And we were able to do all that for them just a few months ago. And then we also had someone donate $100 directly to Butterfly Haven on our behalf. So we were able to do so much with that. God is really blessing, and he's using our members and our community to reach others for him. The next one was our Operation Christmas Child. For Operation Christmas Child, we had a goal of 10 shoe boxes, and we met that goal. We had 8 in-person shoe boxes and 2 online shoe boxes, and all of those were taken to the local Lutheran church, and they have all went on to Operation Christmas Child. And then lastly, our last outreach event or outreach project we had this year, where we were able to provide 20 of the free turkey and ham coupons to Butterfly Haven. And those coupons went directly to Butterfly Haven, and we were able to help them feed 39 families this year, which again, a huge endeavor for our 2 little organizations, but God did it, and it was awesome. Thank you to everyone who donated towards that as well. It was not an easy feat. We were able to find a company that prints these off, and they are able to use them at any grocery store in the area, basically, that accepts coupons. So 20 families got a turkey or a ham for their Thanksgiving dinner. So again, thank you to everyone who donated for that. I did not put our blanket drive on there because it has not finished yet. No, but to throw that out there, if you are planning on donating blankets for Butterfly Haven, we'll be collecting them up to our Christmas Eve service. So you can bring them to church, you can bring them to the Christmas Eve service, and we'll have a receptacle for those as well. We already had a few donations so far, and we're looking forward to donating those to Butterfly Haven later this winter. So I just want to, just give you guys those results from our outreach projects. We did a lot in the last 6 months. And I am so in awe of God because we could not have done this without him. With us being small, with us not having much in the bank, God had really showed up and moved in a mighty way. So I am looking forward to doubling these outreach projects next year. If we can do all of this in 6 months, guess what we can do in 12? God is really going to move in a mighty way next year as well. So be on the lookout for more outreach projects as we move into 2021. We're going to move into more of a finance overview right now. If you look on the screen, as of November 28th, we have received $4,190.09 in tithes and offerings and designated giving. So that's a total of everything we received as a church, including those designated things that went for our outreach projects. And our expenses this past year was $4,097.21. So we brought in more than we spent, which is awesome, and that's a huge praise, because some churches don't have that luxury of doing that. But I will say this: we did not have any building costs, we did not have any utilities, we didn't have any of that. No salaries, nothing. This is purely paying for equipment and outreach projects. That's where 99% of the total giving went towards. And as we will see in our budget, most of that money, again, will be going back into our community and back into getting equipment for our church. Okey-doke. Any questions on the finance overview? It's just a high level. We'll get more into the nitty gritty in a few minutes. Any questions on the finance overview? Okie doke. Let's talk about our budget for next year. This is a big portion of what we're going to talk about tonight, and it may take a few moments to get through it. So let's all, bear this together, right? So with our budget next year, every member should have received an emailed copy of this, but I'm going to put it in sections on the screen for everyone to look at, as well as talk about it very high level. There's a few things I do want to point out, so everyone is on the same page. So if you look on your screen, you will see the actual of what we spent as of October 2021. That's when this budget was prepared. So it does not include any of our expenditures for November. But what we did with the budget for 2022, we took the total amount we spent and divided it by the number of months there were from start to finish. And then we multiply that by 12, which gave us about the amount we would have spent in an entire year, because we've only been a church for 6 months. And then our treasurer and I, we went ahead and adjusted those numbers accordingly to make it more pretty, so to speak. So I do want to touch base. And of course, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat and I'll answer them in a bit. A few things I do want to touch on is our giving. So as a church, we do give. And that is here on the third line, or fourth line technically. You can't see me because it's on the screen, but I'm going to point anyways. We currently give these to organizations, right? Our ministry partners. We give 2% of our undesignated giving to Butterfly Haven. We give 1% to the Missouri Baptist Convention, and we give 2% to Thrive St. Louis. So let's talk about those three first. Butterfly Haven, as we know, is a nonprofit here in St. Louis that helps families in crisis as well as foster and adoptive families. So we give them 2% of our undesignated giving. Then we have the Missouri Baptist Convention. That's the state convention we are a part of. As Southern Baptists, we have to give annually, at least one time a year, to the Missouri Baptist Convention to stay within the convention. We give monthly. And that is 1% of our our undesignated giving. And then we give 2% to Thrive St. Louis. Thrive St. Louis is, again, a nonprofit that helps with women's health care. They provide pregnancy services to women considering abortion. They provide counseling services for women. They provide STD testing. They provide pregnancy support and maternal support. So after a mother gives birth, they will help them for 1 year, give them parenting classes. They're able to get supplies from Butterfly Haven to take care of their children. Sometimes Butterfly Haven Thrive will adopt families, and they will pay for appliances. They will pay for hotel rooms, different things that women need in order to take care of their children, so that they do not have an abortion. So we give to them so that they can then help these women. And they also have men's services as well. So it's a great organization. And our leadership team decided, hey, we're going to give to Thrive St. Louis. So we currently give them 2%. Um, as you will see, there are 2 on there that we haven't given anything to. And I'll kind of explain why. The first is the Deaf Youth Camp. This is a new line item for our church giving. The Deaf Youth Camp is a Southern Baptist organization that gives youth who are deaf, who do not hear or they're hard of hearing, a summer camp to go to. It's kind of like an extended vacation Bible school for these children. And one of our friends, a lot of the people in our church know, the Bergeson family, they are heavily involved with the Deaf Youth Camp. So we have decided as a leadership team to give them 2% of our undesignated giving to help support their mission. And then we have the St. Louis Metro Baptist Association. That's our local Southern Baptist Association here in St. Louis. And they run just like the Missouri Baptist Convention. They're all connected. And it goes all the way up to the Southern Baptist Convention. The reason why we have not given them any money yet is because we have not been accepted into the association yet. We submitted our application late, past their cutoff, so we will not be added to the convention until 2022. So that's why they do not have any money we have given them this past year. But next year we do anticipate funding them as well, giving them some of our undesignated giving so that they can do missions here in St. Louis as well. I'm trying to think. Everything else is pretty straightforward. I'll give you a few moments to look at this slide, and then I will move on to the next slide. Okie doke. Let's keep going. Another thing I want to point out is under subscriptions. Currently, we have 3 different subscription services for our church. The first one is CCLI. That covers us so that we can use contemporary Christian music, and those artists and songwriters are paid their revenue for the songs that they wrote and the songs they performed, as well as it gives us the right to stream those songs. So we pay $129 a year for those licenses. Canva, we use Canva every week. That's how we get all of the beautiful slides and everything. All those are created through Canva. And then Tithely. Tithely is our giving database where people can give online. But we currently have a deal with Canva where we get a full year of their complete 100% program, so to speak. So that includes the giving the giving site. It includes a church management software. It includes a church app, which is currently in development. It includes our website. It includes so much stuff jam packed into that, and it's only $100 a month. But right now, because we are a starting church, we don't pay anything for the first year. So next year we included that year worth in our budget. Another thing I need to point out here is our building rent. This is important. We are currently in talks with New Beginning Bible Church to rent some of their space. And that's one thing that we are anticipating having to spend next year. We are still working things out. It is in the budget, but it doesn't mean we're going to spend it. There's a good chance, or there is a chance it could fall through, and we're not able to rent from them. But it does give us a starting point if we find another space. So we are allotting $3,600 for building rent. This is not going to get paid out to myself and Emma for allowing the church to use our house. That's not where the money is going to. It is pending a rental agreement with a third party. That is what that money is going to be used for. Janitorial supplies. That is to help us be able to clean and disinfect a little bit more effectively next year. Currently, all that is coming out of Emma and I's pocket to pay for our own cleaning supplies. So that's going to allow us to buy supplies specifically for the church to be used for the church. And then when we get a building, it'll be used to clean that building as well. If you notice under staff, it's empty. There are no salaries there. There's not a pastor salary, there's not a worship leader salary, and there's not a secretary salary. As of next year, there still will not be a salary. Currently, we do not bring in enough to be able to have salaries for our staff here at church. And we are okay with that. We rather do the Lord's work and then be rewarded at a later date. That is totally fine. So just know, all of our budget is going right back into our community, and it's going right back into the church itself. It's not going into pockets. We do have pulpit supply, worship leader fill-in case, I'm gone, Deb's gone. If we have a guest speaker, that allows all that to be paid for, because we do believe a worker is due their wages. So if we have a guest worship leader, we have a guest preacher, they will be paid out of those funds. And that is it. So our anticipated expenditures next year is $12,415.55. That is a lot of money compared to what we spent this year. As we saw a few moments ago, we only spent a little over $4,000. That's about triple what we spent this year so far. If we take out, I'll go to this next slide actually. If we look at this slide here, you will see that the projected income for 2022 is $9,117.81. And that's just undesignated. Our designated, which is, we brought in a lot for missions and outreach, that is $603.60. The total giving income that we anticipate next year based on what we brought in these 6 months will be $9,721.41. That is what we are anticipating. So our budget allows room for growth. It allows room for growth in our membership. It allows growth in regards to you know, giving itself. So when we look at the total projected based on opposed to our salary or not salary, our expenditures for next year, it is almost exactly dependent on a building. If we take out the line for building rent, it will bring us down to the 9,721.41. So that part in there is the building, and that is giving us room for growth. We always should have room for growth in a church. Now, it was a little bit difficult to project a year's budget on 6 months, but we did it the best that we could. So our budget for next year is going to be the $12,415.55 because of the building rent that is pending on a building for us to get. So not a dime of that will be spent unless we enter into a rental agreement with a third party company or another church, and the church will vote on that because it may cause that number to go up, it may cause that number to go down. It's all dependent on the church. We will call a special business meeting at that point. So I'm going to make a motion on our budget for 2022. And I'm going to type it in the chat. So the motion is to approve the 2022 budget as printed and presented. The motion is sent in the chat for those to vote who are the members online. For all those in favor in person, say aye. Aye. Oh, sorry. No, it has to be seconded. Do I have a second? I apologize. Thank you. Do I have a second on that motion to approve the budget? It's seconded. Great. So now let's vote on the motion to approve the 2022 budget as printed and presented. All in favor say aye or type aye. Aye. Okie doke. I will give you all who are online a moment to vote. Okay, the motion carries. The budget for 2022 has passed. Just a tip on that budget: we needed a budget in order for us to apply for tax exempt status with the state. So that will be going in soon. Probably the beginning of the year, we will apply for our tax exempt status. So now that our budget is approved for 2022, that was easy. Thank you, guys. Okay, this is now the time for miscellaneous business. If anybody has something to bring up for the good of the church or the bad of the church, whichever way you look at it, you can do so now. If you're in person, please raise your hand. If you're online, go ahead and type in the chat or send us a message on Facebook, and we will bring up your miscellaneous business. No. Okie doke. The time for miscellaneous business is up. No one has put anything in the chat. Stating they have miscellaneous business. No one in person has stated they have miscellaneous business. So we will move on. Um, what's in store for 2022? 2022 is going to be a big year for us. Being that we have only been a church for 6 months, we have a full year to base everything on now. The first thing in 2022 that we are going to be doing are our outreach projects. And these outreach projects do not have to be the projects we did this year. They could be new ones. They could be the ones we did this year, but they could also be different. So we will be looking for our members to, let us know what you want to see in 2022. I would love to do another back to school event, maybe a little bit bigger this year. I would love to do our Halloween event, which I forgot to put on there. I would love to do that one again. I would love to do a few other things next year. So if you have an idea for an outreach project, let us know. And we'll see, and our leadership team will come together and we'll see, is it viable? Can we do it? Do we have the funds to do it? So please bring your ideas to the table. The second thing that we have in store for 2022 is a permanent worship space. Our goal for next year is to find a place outside of my house. As much as I love only having a 12-step commute every Sunday, I'm okay with driving a little bit. So our goal for next year is to find a permanent place for us, even a semi-permanent place where it's a little bit more temporary, but it's some place where we can grow. So please be praying for the Lord to provide us with the funds and to provide us with where we need to be. My heart is to be where the need is. That could be, North County. That could be down in the city. It could be University City. It could be Overland. It could be Hazelwood. It could be Florissant, Ferguson. All these cities, St. Louis City. So we just want to know. We just want the Lord to show us where we need to be. So please be praying for that. And as we know more, we will let the church know, because it is a decision that the church has to make for a permanent space. That's not something that our leadership team can do on their own. Not even our board of directors can do them on their own. So we will be calling special business meetings. We will be calling town halls, etc., to talk about permanent worship spaces for 2022. The next thing, a midweek Bible study. I would love to have more than just Sunday mornings. These could be done via Zoom. They could be in person. They could be in people's houses. They can be in my house. And others can start them. But we do want to start a midweek Bible study soon. So if you are itching to start a Bible study, let us know. We'll get you started. We'll buy the materials for you. We'll buy your books, the videos. If you do a video study, we'll help you advertise it. But we do want to get some midweek Bible studies started up at least by the end of the first quarter next year. The next thing is we want to expand our worship team. Deb is doing a phenomenal job with leading worship on Sunday mornings, but we do want to kind of steer away from videos if we can. So we want to bring in some musicians, and if we can't, we want to bring in more vocalists to be able to sing on Sunday mornings. We have the microphones, we have the capabilities, we just need the people. So Deb and I will be working on this to find people to bring in, and not just bringing in people to bring them in, to be members of the church. My goal is to have everything either volunteer-based or paid-based across the board, meaning that you won't have somebody just coming in collecting a paycheck. You will have a member of the church leading worship, being in the band, things of that nature. It's not a paid position, so to speak. So we're not bringing in people just to bring it for the sake of bringing in people. We're bringing in, our members to serve. So Deb and I will be working on that in 2022. We also want to do some more joint services. We had a fantastic joint service with New Beginnings Bible Church this past October. We want to do more of that. with other churches. We have a lot of friends who are pastors. So doing things with Landmark Family Church, we can do things with New Beginnings. We could do things with Cross Keys, where my friend is a worship leader there. Um, Out in Florissant, we have uh, people at Parkway Baptist, First Baptist St. Anne. It doesn't have to be a Baptist church. It could be a Pentecostal, a Lutheran church, a Methodist church. We just want to just worship alongside people. So be on the lookout for some joint services happening in 2022. And then we have guest preachers. This past year, we have had Bishop Calvin preach. He was on the computer. He did it via Zoom, and it was phenomenal. We want to do some more of that. Yes, it's not the same as having a live preacher in front of you, but it allows us to have live preachers from around the country. Because flights are expensive. Well, flights are cheap now, but usually flights are really expensive. You have hotel costs and all those things. But bringing somebody for one Sunday to preach from California, from Alabama, from Texas, wouldn't be a huge endeavor with having them preach via Zoom. So we want to do some more of that next year. And then deacon nominations. Our goal is to have at least one deacon for every 10 families in the church. Because we only have 4 families in the church right now, we only need one deacon. So we will be looking for that deacon. And per our bylaws, the pastor nominates the deacons, and there's a whole thing that happens with the like a search committee, so to speak, who they're interviewed and everything, and then the church votes on the deacons to ordain them as deacons. So we will be doing that this year, hopefully. So men, get ready. The Lord is moving, and He may be calling you to be a deacon. So we do want to do some deacon nominations this year. So that's a lot of stuff we have in store for 2022, but we are super excited about it. Are there any questions as we move into our Q&A time? Does anybody have any questions in regards to, what's in store for 2022? If my slide will work, does not, but it's okay. But does anybody have any questions on anything we talked about? Anything you have questions on regarding 2022, going forward, our vision, our mission? Anything, you can go ahead and speak now if you're in person, or type it in the chat, send us a message. I'll give you all a moment to do that. Any questions? I'm not seeing anything on Facebook. Any questions via message? I don't see any. So I'm going to give y'all a couple more seconds just to, if you're typing out your question, you can send it in. Okie doke. So there are no questions being asked. So um, at this point, I make a motion to end our business meeting. Um, and do I have a second for that motion? I have a second on Facebook. Great. All in favor say aye or type aye. Aye. Give it a moment for votes to come in. And the ayes have it. So our business meeting is now done. Thank you all for coming tonight. Everybody on Facebook, everybody in person, thank you all for joining us. We are so excited for what 2022 has in store. This was a very easy business meeting. This is actually my first business meeting I ever had to conduct. So thank you all for being easy on me. But our business meeting is now over. And I look forward to seeing everyone here on Sunday morning. God bless. Talk to you guys later.